There you go. That was Aaron Neville with... that's not a greater record than that, is it? You must have sung that at some point, Sam.
What? No, I haven't ever.
Really?
Sung that song, no.
Right, Sam Brown's here, by the way.
Like it is.
I told you she could match it.
Yeah.
And people will be going, she's not white.
He does all this yodelling as well, though, doesn't he? Yeah, he did that thing with Linda Ronstadt. Do you remember that duet they did?
Does he yodel?
Yeah, he does. And he does this really weird thing with his voice. I don't know.
I'd like to see the Neville brothers performing completely in Barbarian outfits, doing the slapping and the yodeling.
What, you mean you haven't seen them?
I've seen them live, but I haven't seen them doing their Barbarian act.
Oh, no, I haven't.
You ever done any of that? A song with a yodel in it?
Well, I've done a fair bit of yodelling, yes, I think.
Have you?
Yeah.
You must explain this now.
When you realise... That's sort of yodelling a bit, isn't it?
Oh, no, I was thinking more... that sort of thing. I'd like to see
if you went to a sort of wooden hut on a mountainside in Austria and all the sort of English tourists got off their coach party, and tonight you will have traditional Austrian yodelling.
She didn't say it was traditional Austrian.
No.
It was a Cockney take.
I think it was a technical vocal term I was sort of using.
Oh, I see.
To
What's it called? Because there's a sort of yodel that I can't abide, and as you can tell, I like yodeling. How many people have spent this long? I mean, it's only been about 45 seconds.
I think you might have invented a new genre, though, Cockney yodelling. Yodel will do what? Do what?
I on a watch? Stood a watch? No, but what is that sort of Irish trill they do when they do, like the Cranberries do it all the time, that Zombie drives me nuts. And like even someone, Sinead O'Connor, who I love, and who's got a great voice, when she sometimes does the little Irish...
she only does it about twice an album, though.
But that's too much for me. That's 2 times too many. Is there a technical term for that?
Well, if you don't like it, probably there is.
Right. And if I did like it, there wouldn't be? I don't understand the logic there.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there is or not. It's just what people do, isn't it? I suppose it's gimmicky.
Sam, well, it's quite traditional, isn't it, in Ireland? Sam's just come back from Centre Parks this morning, where she's been entertaining the troops or something. I don't know what you've been doing. You've been on holiday there?
Yes, I've been on holiday.
Oh, okay.
I've been on holiday with my family, Mark. I'm going to try and speak properly, as I have been referred to this morning as common. My father is most upset, I have to tell you.
What, God blimey Joe?
He said to me, my telephone rang in the dentist waiting room out there. And
not working,
and he phoned me up and he said, "What's all this bollocks about me being common?" I said, "I'm sure they didn't mean it, Daddy."
Oh, I hope it hasn't come as a revelation to him.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope he hasn't been thinking all these years, I'm like Peter Ustinov. No, when I said...
turned down as newsreader. Radio 4.
That's Saddam Hussein's crackers. It's a moment I always remember with your father. He was, I can't remember, he was talking about Billy Fury or someone. He was on the tube. And he just went, yeah, he was crackers, old Billy. And I thought, now that's proper Cockney there. But to him...
It's a nutter.
Yeah, but to him, he would think that was received pronunciation.
Absolutely.
And that was fine. Well, I did say common in the same way that me or Mark are common.
I'm sure that he wasn't offended in the least.
No, I can't imagine he would be. I'm what?
My ear's bleeding, but it's fine.
Sam is... Oh, actually, there's no point doing that, yeah, because the tour is not till April.
No.
I suppose people could start booking tickets and stuff.
They could, yeah. My manager's given me a bit of paper.
We will talk about that at some point. There's plenty of other things to talk about.
Bit of paper.
I've got my ukulele as well. Sorry, Mark, you're going to talk about my bit of paper, sorry.
No, it wasn't going to be very interesting. Ukulele.
She's so common, she's brought in paper. Normally people have a laptop and they download their tour dates in front of me, or something like that, or they have a flunky and there's a big silver platter and they lift the lid and they go, these are your tour dates. That's when Gary Beadle comes in, that's exactly what's going to happen. But she's so common.
I am.
She's left her whippets outside.
It's on the back of a bus ticket.
I can't deny it.
Plymouth on the 9th. Exeter on the 11th. Oh, hang on. What? Bananas. Oh, that's me shopping. Hang on.
She came in here sucking on a piece of tripe and asking me where the nearest place for pie and liquor was. So Sam, I don't know if you know, but Sam has sung. You've just sung with everyone, haven't you? It must be an amazing career to have... I mean, sometimes back in, sometimes alongside doing duets and stuff. But
yeah, I mean, you don't really sing with them, do you? I get booked to go and do backing vocals or whatever, and you go in and you do a bit and then you toddle off again, don't you? So I haven't they're not all my best buddies, but I have sung on a lot of people's music, yes, and I've met some lovely people over the years.
We were doing backing vocals recently for something, weren't we? Not on mic. We were just drunk. Who was
right.
it?
Oh.
It was Jeff Beck, wasn't it?
Drown in My Own Tears.
Yes, we were doing
exactly
that.
Right, yeah. And we should really, I mean, we did try and get ourselves on that instrumental version, and Jeff wanted us to do it, but, it was I think it was all a bit last minute for the Beeb.
Yeah, but also it was an instrumental version, which...
It's true, yeah. Me and you singing all that.
I think he decided that beforehand, and it was quite a phenomenal instrumental version as well.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to play a track from one of the Jules Holland's albums you've been on, because you tour with Jules sometimes and sometimes
yeah, I tour
not?
with him all the time, about 6 or 7 months of the year. It's usually about 100 dates, I think, over the year. We do a summer tour and a winter tour, and I write songs with him, which is great for me. There's that album that you've got there, which is Small Band, Big World, or is it the other way?
This one
Big Band,
is Small World, Big Band.
That's it, yeah,
right.
That's it, sorry. And the new one is called More Friends, I think, and it's got some good tracks on it. And it's very enjoyable
when you
working
sing,
with
you can sound black and soulful, but Jules has the whitest voice in the world, doesn't he?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, he sings.
Hello,
like
I'm Jules
an
Holland now, and it's time for some boogie. It is that sort of level, isn't it?
It is, but when he sings like an old rhythm and blues singer.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, no, he has that intonation
that,
and inflection and everything.
Very hard voice.
But but when he starts, I just heard the beginning of his radio show on Radio 2 the other day, and it was like, "Hello, and we really are going to boogie tonight. I can assure you all of that. If anyone's there thinking by the sound of my voice we're not going to boogie, you are completely wrong. There will be boogie inherent in the show.
You're in Mississippi, aren't you?
That's right. You are. You're there. You're transported immediately.
There's Jules down picking cotton on the plantation. My back is killing me. I'll tell you that. I'm going to really sing the blues to the big boss man.
I'm going to have the afternoon off, ladies and gentlemen.
That's what's beautiful about him, though.
He is a beautiful fella. This is Jules Holland's Rhythm and Blues Orchestra with Sam on Valentine Moon.
The first time you kissed me at the end of our street, the gas lamps shone above us, young lovers we'd meet. But the old town has gone now, and it's winter too soon. Still we waltz beneath our Valentine moon. The streets and the markets and the old darkened bell, we've gone through the changes, we've lived our lives well, but the old town has gone now, and it's winter too soon. Still we waltz beneath our Valentine moon. Valentine moon, Valentine moon, we dance together as old lovers do. Valentine moon, Valentine moon, we always remember our Valentine moon. Cette fois que tu m'embrassais au bout de notre rue, les lampes de gaz nous allumiaient, toi et moi des jeunes amants. But the old town has gone now, and it's winter too soon. Still we waltz beneath our Valentine moon. Valentine moon,
I feel I should know that song.
Well, you don't. It's brand new. I wrote it with Jules.
Oh, okay. Well, it sounds like a classic.
It does sound like an old-fashioned thing, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
And you have that. It's very. There's a sort of Patsy Cliney little trill in your voice on that. It's a very country-ish type deal, isn't it?
I suppose so, yeah.
And there's a bit of French in there.
A little bit
which
of
you're allergic
French,
to.
oui. Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
That's how common she is.
That is.
When it was French, she went, that's your actual French. You didn't say that's French. Yeah. I learned French. I'm very good at French. That's your actual French there.
Yeah.
None of your fake French that you lot get normally. Now, I want to talk now because now we've got an issue with your father, and I like your dad. We've met a few times, and he's always very pleasant, and he's a really amazing guitarist as well. He's underrated. Often happens with these people who become known for sort of showbiz things. Hank Marvin's another one. You know, people just know him as for being around and that. And both great guitarists in their own right, in very different styles and everything. But when you were growing up, did you ever have a car engine on your front garden, on your front lawn?
No, my brother had bike engines all over the place.
Oh, there you go. We're just trying to work out how working class you all are.
There is always an engine, I think, isn't there?
Yeah.
Was there a car that had no wheels that was on bricks for 11 years?
That was mine. I had that. But,
I learned to drive in that car.
There were many hippies when we grew up.
Yeah, you have special working class driving tests where you just sit in that car. And the bloke was, when I tap on a window, you're going to go, oi, don't touch my motor. But you have to do it fast, an emergency, oi.
The theory is you've got to try and get off with someone in the back seat. That would be a proper working class, though, wouldn't it? Would you come and sit in my car on bricks outside my house?
I wish I brought the paper in from out there, actually. There's some fantastic... It's got the old chat up lines work best.
I'll see that, yeah.
Your father must have been a thief because he stole the stars from the sky and they're in your eyes, or something like that.
Yeah, and it says that... And they're the best ones. And
it's written by Freddie Truman or something.
Proper chat up lines in those
No,
days.
what have I done? I pulled the tiger's tail.
None of this father stealing from the skies. You would just say, oi, cave woman, come over here. And that I used to do. I mean...
I tell you what, you'd have a cami knickers off in 4 seconds to use that one. So I want to get back to Sam's childhood, because it must have been...
Of course you do.
Having...
I really believe you.
Only because he's going to do Freddie Truman for hours, that's all.
Yeah, you've got a bit of paper with a load of questions in front of you.
Where?
No.
Where?
My child, go on, I'll tell you about my child.
No, because obviously...
Beatings every day.
Well, of course, he's seen that type.
So did you have to stand there with a ukulele, and if you made one wrong note, he beat you with a belt?
That's right, yeah.
Right.
I always thought that about him. He's going to phone again, isn't he?
I'll tell you what, he's fantastic, my dad. I had a friend, I mean, it wasn't when I was a child, but I had a friend over from America once, from LA, and he was a real sort of, I don't know how to say. He was a real druggy type, this bloke. He was Greg, he was from LA, and, you know, I think he used to play with Patti Smith or something. A lovely bloke. But they came to stay with us, him and his wife, and it was about 9:30 in the morning. We're all having bacon and eggs round the table. My dad says... Anyway, I've got this great new amp. It's really small, but he'd half chuck it out. Hang on a minute. He goes up, runs up. We're all having breakfast. He runs upstairs, comes down with his Les Paul or whatever it was, I can't remember, plugs it into this little tiny little lamp, sticks it on the breakfast table and goes... And it's just absolutely brilliant. This poor bloke was like... Oh my
See,
God.
for them it would have been all like leads and speaker parts on the front lawn.
That's
it would have
right,
been that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you must have had like musicians around the house all the time. It must have been a very weird upbringing. That's why I was talking about it. It must have been odd to
I think that
to be brought up with music, as it were.
The car parts analogy probably holds very true. And we had a studio, one of the first studios at our house in Essex, where I was brought up. And I remember the engine. My dad was working away a lot, but there were always people in the studio. And the engineer was a guy called Johnny Wright, and he used to have a black Rover P4. And I'll never forget sitting with him in the control room, which was an absolute mess, ashtrays everywhere, you know, horrible place. And he used to show us how to make spiders out of soldering wire. And that's like one of my childhood memories I really remember well. And also there were always loads of people around, but it was good fun. It didn't seem anything strange to me until I got older and went to school, and I started to realise it wasn't normal, but it was actually completely normal for me. See,
so when you got a little bit older, was it just obvious you would go into music? Just because that was, you know, because that's around the whole time.
Yeah, I don't know really. I've never been particularly ambitious, but I suppose it was my mum really. I used to go to sessions with my mum. And in fact, that T-Rex record you played earlier had my mum on it.
Really?
Yeah, her and Liza Strike did all that high stuff. She said her and Liza and Mark used to go in. That's what sort of gave it that sound.
So I'll tell you what would be really rock and roll, having Mark Bolan's car up on bricks in your front.
Anyway. I don't know how much of it there is.
No, I'm just saying that would be a nice thing, wouldn't it? That would be rock and roll and working class at the same time. He's been dead a long time, all right? It wasn't my fault. Let's play another track from the other Jules Holland album, the Real Friends album. No?
Well, if you like. Yeah, go on then, if you like.
There you go, it's coming out.
All right.
All right, then we're not going to.
Are you going to play ukulele?
You can play.
Right, now
we're going to do that as well.
I can't... Yeah,
See, that was a proper instrument, a ukulele, I mean, these days.
Can you hear it all right?
Yes, it sounds lovely.
All right. Now, this is George Harrison's ukulele.
Get off.
We gave it to my dad. It's from Hawaii. Kamaka ukulele. There you go, handcrafted, made in Honolulu, Hawaii. And I remember going round to George's house with Jules once, and we went in, and my dad plays this song in his set called See You in My Dreams, and it is a very sweet song. I know you're both very clever and chatty and everything, but it's a really beautiful
I know,
song.
I think Willie Nelson did a version.
I'll see you in my dreams, hold you in my... Anyway, it's that song. And George started playing it, and I was singing it with him because my dad had taught it to him, you see. So
wow.
This is a new thing for me. I'm not very good at guitars, but shall I try it? What do you think?
Yeah, I like the sound of a ukulele anyway.
I mean, this is a song that I've written. I'll give it a go. Just go crap, shut up if it's really awful, but here we go.
You might hear this CD being banged in quite quickly.
Oh, God. I'll be here for you, my dear, though love has gone away. There's a feeling in my heart that's strong and here to stay. Though we're over now, please don't be down. We'll find a brighter day. Oh God, hang on, sorry. That's it. And I'll be here for you, my dear, though love has gone away. There you go. There was a solo in the middle,
that was
but
absolutely
you were
amazing.
supposed to bring your harmonica, but I whistle on the track, but I can't whistle on terrible.
You know what? People think I can play the harmonica, and I'm pretty ropey.
You're a good singer, though.
No, people again.
Oh, come on,
People,
Blue
no.
Jean. Oh, don't be modest.
Oh, but I can do an Ian Jury song because they're basically spoken, aren't they? That's not quite the
I
same
don't know.
thing.
I think it's interesting what you're saying before, though, about people don't know my dad's such a good guitarist, and people like Hank Marvin and stuff like that, because you can't get on just on musical merit alone. I don't think you can be high profile and get on.
No,
musical.
probably
I mean,
not.
I don't want to start a big serious discussion, but it's true, isn't it? You've got to have that other thing as well going along with it. Like
Well, if-
What I do know is that you know proper ukulele songs. These, I mean, Leaning on the Lamppost. That was a proper ukulele
Oh,
song.
wish
I
my
mean, these
dad was
days you
here.
couldn't bother. I mean, that's because the lamppost, the modern lamppost, you lean on it, it'd just snap. They're made of plastic. I give up. And when I'm cleaning windows, that would a proper. These days you don't get a window cleaner. They don't. They just come round and
you
just
can laugh. I've got
squirt
another
lemon
2
on it.
hours of this, and then we'll go and have breakfast, and I'll have another 2 hours. You don't have breakfast like they used to. You used to have breakfast at 2 o'clock in the morning.
I used to get up at middle of the night and you used to have a man come round and force black pudding down your
Liver all
face.
clean with tongue.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like a Tourette's, isn't it, with you now? You've got Freddie
it's only been
Truman
the last
Tourette's. Yeah, but I know it's not. We're not going to nip it in the bud. Here's a track that I wanted to play for Sam because we did a thing a couple of years ago, and she did a version of this song, and it was as good as this, and this is a great version.
Ah.
It's, do you know what it is?
Yeah. I used to smoke.
It's
I used to
Saved by,
drink.
Saved by Laverne Baker. It's such a great record. Yeah, she's been redeemed by the end of it. We're nearly there. We'll be right back with Sam Brown and more and Mark Steele after this. 88 to 91 FM. This is Radio 2 from the BBC. That's Gino Washington from his album. I'm not quite sure if it's out yet, actually. It's called Return of the G. Oh, it's a rap term, but of course it does make sense because his name does start with that sound. And that track's called Bluesmaster, and the album, Return of the G, and I think it's out next month or something. And very different style for Gino. Remember when he came in? He's such a... Were you in when he came in?
No, I did meet him once before, a long time ago.
Oh, he's an amazing character, because everything's like that.
Everything is huge, yeah. You can't imagine whoever it was, the last person to say, "Can you just be quiet a minute, Gino?" would probably have got a short shrift, I think.
Well, maybe it was
He's
said
not
to
maybe
him
spent
once.
a lot of
and he
time
was
in
like, yeah.
libraries.
I think I think he rebelled against once. His mum sort of said no talk at dinner table. I want to talk how I want. I want to get on the good foot and get my food on. That's exactly what he's like. But it's a great record. And,
Good harmonica solo.
Quite poor. I wasn't going to get into that.
I know.
But there you go.
Didn't think I was going to let you get away with it, did you?
Well, right, it's not very good. Okay,
It's
but
great.
the record's good nonetheless. There you go. I wasn't playing it because of that. I was playing anyway.
No.
And it wasn't as fine as maybe some of the ukulele work we've been privy to. At least there's no giggling on the harmonica
taking
solo.
the
on
mickey
that.
out of it?
No, I'm not. I very much enjoyed that song.
I think you should keep that. It's very human, the little bit in the middle of, oh, blimey, I've hit the wrong notes.
I know.
I think that's very human.
She got that off her dad.
Yeah.
He wouldn't hit the wrong note, though, but he would...
No, that's exactly right.
But he would go, oh, blimey, that's a good bit. Or something like that in the middle of it, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Maybe,
It's the human touch of the
Yes.
Browns.
So now, how have you managed to be brought up with in a sort of musical background and with a sort of air to, well, I'm going to be a musician one day, and not end up building your own funfair and zoo? And
Well, I haven't really earned enough money to do that.
I did think that was my favourite line in the whole of that thing was, especially because it was delivered in such a dry sort of way. My favourite line was, as well as a funfair, Michael has built himself his own zoo. And then you see a picture of these giraffes. I just thought there was something very funny about that, because I was sort of expecting the funfair, but the zoo.
Everyone, I haven't seen it yet, I taped it. Everyone's been talking about that show all week, but surely we can't think he's any odder than we've already thought. I don't want to get into any judgments about what he does in his life, because it's probably not the right time or right type of show to do that, but... Surely no one sort of went,
Well, I think
God, he is a bit wacky, isn't he, now? Now they've put it into perspective.
Well, there was the other brilliant line was when the interviewer is sort of talking to him on the night that Michael has dangled his kid over the balcony. It's that night. And this is the bit a lot of people have been talking about. He's got the kid who's got the baby, just a few months old, and it's got a green veil over him, sort of netting, fishing net type thing all over it, so that it can't be recognised, because otherwise people would go, it's Michael Jackson's baby, you know. So he's got this.
That's what her dad was like that. He was like, you're not going out the house like that, and then you've got a green veil
got
over.
a mask on.
When you say, like, you know, fish nets, it would be actually fish nets. It would be a real fishing net.
That's all we got.
Like, you know, the big keep net, she would go out
Yeah.
like a beekeeper, so to keep the boys off.
Yeah, well, it was like that. It was a beekeeper's thing, and I mean, you can't. For anyone who didn't see it, you can't exaggerate how much you saw it. How much his leg was flat. He was going wild.
Oh, I did see that little
like
clip.
a
Yeah.
drill.
What, the kid?
Well, the kid,
You know when you
because he
rock
was
a kid on your knee very gently?
Yeah.
But this was like, you know, it was
Yeah.
like the last minutes of the can-can. It was a bit too much.
Going frantic.
Who was?
Michael Jackson, he was rocking the baby. Have we made this story too complex?
And he's
Yeah.
got the
He had a baby on his knee.
He's got the milk bottle in the baby's mouth.
That's
through
your
this
actual English,
fishing-
that is.
Yeah.
What he's talking there. It's not...
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's right, I got that. Yeah.
We've got to do what? Got the old milk. Gone bosh, baby. Come over here. Get some milk down, you darling.
Hey, wallow, look at that knee go. Look at it go.
Go on, shake it all down, darling. Oi, if that net leaves your boat race, you're for it, all right?
I tell you what, they haven't got nutters like we used to have. I mean, you used to have great nutters.
Proper nutters. Joan of Arc voices in the head these days. They just have their nose smashed up and change colour, and they call that mental. I give up. But so he's got this. He's got this milk bottle in the kid's mouth, and he's going absolutely wild. He's just shaking, mental, like one of them sort of cocktail things. And my impression of the interview, the voiceover says, without any attempt at humour, he was really clearly meant it. He said, "Around this point, Michael's behaviour began to alarm me."
And you must have seen that, because you've been around enough, like, supremely famous people. You must have seen that sort of level of... not that level of madness. I mean, not with Jules.
I've always found people to be very normal, actually.
Well, disappointingly normal.
Well, no, reassuringly normal.
Oh, right.
I mean, there's always mad behaviour, isn't there? Is there? I think there is anyway. Well, there was at our house, but, you know, I remember my Uncle Tony, who used to play in Sounds Incorporated. I don't know if you remember Sounds Incorporated. And he was completely mad. He was known for setting his underwear alight in the speakeasy and things like that. And he was completely mad. I'll never forget, he came round...
So you haven't seen any madness? Well, apart from me,
Well,
my
I wasn't
uncle used to
there.
set his
I wasn't
pants on
there.
fire. Was he lying at the time?
I remember once he came round, he had this old car, I don't know what it was some really old car with foot plates down the side of it, and he said, come on kids, hop on, I'll give you, go round the roundabout, or, round the thingy. We had this sort of, gravel bit that went round in front of our house. We said, oh yeah, great, Uncle Tony, and we all get off 4 or 5 kids. Anyway, he shoots out the drive, it's a really old car, and bombs down Chigwell High Street doing about 70 miles an hour, and we're all, those little rims on the edge of it, we're all sort of gripping on for dear life. It was like, oh my God, it was terrifying. But no,
so
I'm not
no
really.
real madness
No.
then, apart from that.
That's proper
Not
sort
really.
of... So were you at North London, weren't you?
East.
All right.
I'm going to do a reading. I'm doing a reading.
A reading?
Now. Yeah, because obviously Phil Spector's gone nuts this week, and again legally there's probably some problems with what we can say. But I actually have read this out on the radio before, but I enjoy this passage so much.
Is it Enid Blyton?
It's from Be My Baby, the Ronnie Spector autobiography, which is just chock full of tales of Phil Spector being nuts in previous decades. But there's this one particular story. He's a short Jewish man, Phil Spector, virtually bald. And at the end of the 60s, he decides that he wants to fit in. So the way to fit in is to buy an afro wig, which, probably don't really work that well on a short, balding Jewish man. So he sends Ronnie and her mum up to Watts or somewhere to go and buy him this afro wig, and he has various fittings and everything. And he's pretty much a shut-in at this point. He hasn't left the house for a couple of years. But he decides, that's it, I've got my afro wig on. Now I can go back out into society, re-assimilate. People will forget my crazy past because I'm a short, balding Jewish man in afro wig. So this is the thing. It's quite a long bit, but it will be worth it. Phil loved his afro wig. I guess it made him feel like he had soul or something, because after he got it, he wanted us all to go back down to Watts to hear some real gospel music at the Reverend James Cleveland's church. I never liked straight gospel music because I never understood what they were singing about. Of course, Phil had his heart set on it. So we all piled into the back of his limousine. This is going down to, like, the roughest area of church you could possibly imagine. Me, my mother and Phil. He also brought along a pair of bodyguards. Afro wig or no afro wig, Phil wasn't taking any chances going down to Watts. He even brought one of his pistols, which he tucked into his jacket pocket. My mother just shook her head. Phil, she said, why you want to bring a gun into a church? This, he said, patting his gun like he was in the Old West. This is my peacemaker. I brought it along in case there's any trouble. This is in a church. Thank God he at least had the sense to have the bodyguards wait in the car when we went into the church. We found seats in the back just as Reverend James Cleveland's choir started singing. They were wailing and moaning and singing it out in the way that gospel people do. And Phil was moaning and wailing right along with them. He was rolling his shoulders and shaking his arms, and pretty soon he was sweating and shouting out, Amen, like he was at a Baptist revival meeting. It was funny, really. Here I was, this black girl, bored out of her mind at a gospel concert, sitting with a Jewish man in an afro who looked like he was about to speak in tongues. After the singing, Phil kept on shouting Amen all through Reverend Cleveland's sermon. When the Reverend held out the collection plate, Phil jumped to his feet with a $100 bill in his hand. Oh no, my mum gasped under her breath. But it was already too late to stop him. We bit our lips and watched Phil jog all the way up the aisle of that crowded black church, an afro wig on his head and a $100 bill in his hand. When I saw the handle of his .38 bobbing up and down in his jacket pocket, I actually started praying, please God, don't let it fall out. And then, so he goes down to the front and he hands his 100. Everyone else is putting in their 10 cents into the plate and everything. And he's got his $100 bill aloft after shouting out Amen at the wrong point all the service. And then he turns to Ronnie and her mum and he says, I guess I showed him I'm not just any white guy. That you did, Phil, my mother agreed. That you surely did. That you did, said my mum. That you surely did. That was the Crystals, of course, with Lenny Kiss Me. I'm Mark Lamarr, sitting in for Jonathan Ross, and Mark Steele's still with me, as is Sam Brown. There's no more ukulele songs to come, is
Really sorry. I only learned to play it last week.
Oh, well, you did a very good job then.
Well, yeah.
And it was a lovely song as well.
Not
because
bad.
there are a lot of songs that go well with the ukulele that aren't necessarily George Formby. And as I said George Formby, I thought, oh no, I've sparked him off, I've rattled his cage.
He was
No, we've done that
fantastic,
one.
though. He's George Formby. I mean, I've been I've had it drummed into, George Formby and Sean Formby, and the ukulele drummed into me by my dad and George Harrison as well. They're just such big fans. But
Really? Of George Formby?
Yeah.
Because Ronnie Wood's a really big George Formby fan, and you can't really
Have you ever seen...
equate the two.
Have you never seen the films of the George Formby convention?
No.
There's like a massive room. I mean, dating back to... I presume the 60s and whenever, and there's a massive room, like a big hall, with all chairs set out in lines like school assembly, sort of thing. And at the front of the hall is a big screen where they play George Formby films, You know, where there's all the and then there's the song, and what they do is they sit there, they watch the film, and every time he does a song, they all dressed as George Formby, and they've all got ukuleles, and whenever he does a song, they all sit up and play the song.
Oh, wow.
And it just looks completely amazing.
And how many? Exaggerate. Say there's like
hundreds.
50,000 or something.
No, hundreds.
But even so,
50,000.
hundreds of George Formby sat there.
Singing when I'm cleaning windows.
Yeah.
You'd want to go sort of for the novelty factor, but then about a minute in, you'd think, yeah, there'll be enough there. Did you find that with George Formby? Then you think, oh, no, I like George Formby. Oh, Mr. Woo, what can I do? And then you go, that's enough. Just say, Mr. Woo, what can I do? Turn out nice again, and off. That's like his 2 hits, isn't it, really?
Leaning on the lamppost.
Well, a song and Turned Out Nice Again. That's his other hit.
Yeah.
It was a spoken word thing. He was ahead of his time in those days. He was the first one to do the real spoken word performances. I know the other one.
Weather reference.
He also
I
had
used to do that before him.
Didn't they?
No, turned out nice again.
He also had Can You See Me, Mother?
Oh yeah.
That was his other one.
That's not bad, really, because they've lasted. You know, how many people say "Here, kitty, kitty" anymore? But those catchphrases have lasted.
Who did that?
Bruce Forsyth. See,
Was that?
prove my point. That was one of his catchphrases.
You actually have.
Yeah.
I think you made up a catchphrase to prove a point.
No,
there.
he used to, no. He did it about a woman with a deaf white cat. There was You must remember that.
No.
Yeah, he had a woman on who said, on the Generation game, and she said, I've got a deaf cat. And he said, oh, I suppose you go, here, kitty, kitty, really loud. I'm not going to do it, because it really doesn't warrant it. But
My nan used to play the cat pipes.
how do they
My
work?
dad's
There's no
mum.
madness in her upbringing.
My dad's mum, she looked a bit like John Wayne in True Grit. And she sort of used to wear this hairnet, and she'd have, you know, all the baby hair you have around the top of the hair, like your hair there. She'd cut it so it'd go all spiky. So she'd have a Joe Brown at the front, and then metal curlers and a hairnet, and one of those sort of blue nylon house coats. And she used to wear these blue sort of nylon bloomers that were really tight, just above her knee. And you know those sort of khaki green coloured support stockings?
No, but
And
I'm willing
she'd
to use
she'd
my
have
imagination.
This roll of white elastic, and she sort of tourniquet the stocking
right.
up, so there was a wodge of sort of corned beef flesh between the
right.
sort of bloomers and the stocking at the bottom. And she used to get our cat, which incidentally was called Kitty, and she'd get the cat.
That is working class.
She put the cat underneath her
I can't
arm.
be bothered to give it a proper name. Kitty or cat?
Kitty. She put the cat under her arm. She put the tail in its mouth. And she'd go, here, listen to this. And she'd go, like that with her arm, like that, and bite the tail at the same time. And the cat
Oh,
goes,
my
bagpipe.
Lord.
yeah.
What, and the cat would squeal?
Cat pipes. I've finished now.
They're very hard to get a good tune out of them, really. Although probably not
You
as
could get an
annoying.
orchestra out of it.
Again, with the bagpipes, after about a minute, you're sort of...
No, but if you could actually
Oh,
get
no,
if
how
you'd
can you
actually
say
get a
that?
whole orchestra out of it and do Amazing Grace, that would be the sort of thing they'd have an opportunity knocks, wouldn't it? Back then?
Absolutely.
What, cat pipes?
And Bruce Forsyth could reuse his old catchphrase. How? It sounds like he used it once and it's become a big thing in your life. Did he use it again?
No. It's a big thing that he did, and then he'd do it every week.
Every week he'd say, here, kitty, kitty, when it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I can't believe you don't know. I mean, you're a man
Was
up
that
with your
the-
popular culture of the 1970s. This was
Was
yeah,
that the programme
one.
where people won things and there was a conveyor belt at the end?
That's the one. Yeah,
With,
all that. Yeah.
And Anthea or Andrea, what was it?
Anthea.
I feel like, you know, sometimes you think I'm fairly well-rounded, I know what I'm doing. Now I feel like I've missed out on a lot of things.
I'm surprised because you normally get, that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I feel empty inside. I'm a shell of a broadcaster.
I don't want anyone to misunderstand me. I'm not claiming that there is any inherent goodness in this, that there is any artistic merit. It was just a comment.
Do you know what? Within seconds now, there's going to be thousands of emails going, I also remember that episode.
Yeah, well, it wasn't just one episode. He'd do it every week.
You were illustrating a point, weren't you, Mark?
Yeah, about George Formby's catchphrases.
No, it was,
Right.
and it was a good point. He said unconvincingly.
Isn't there a thing? I'm trying to think what it is that George Formby. I'm not sure I've got this right, but there is something I think where that Hitler hated him and he wanted. I know that there was a.
You can see why.
Yeah, because I know that there's sort of
Particularly in the last days of the war, it turned out nice again. That would be really,
that would
that's
really
rubbing it
pay
salt
off.
into the wound.
I know, cleaning windows. I ain't got any windows in me bunker, have I? But there was a thing, the top of the list of people to be assassinated in the event of a German invasion was Noel Coward. Because he sort of
Right.
represented
Right,
all
yeah.
that
All things
Hitler
bad.
hated about
Yeah.
England, the sort of
Yeah.
debauched upper class, sort of gay, all that sort of thing. But
And
I
also he made
think-
all those propaganda films as well, Noel Coward, didn't he?
Yeah. But then also, I think he despised George Formby for some reason. I might have got that horribly wrong.
There is a point in the show, and it is usually about now Mark make things up. And
And
that might have been one of them, but at least he said I might have just made that up completely. But I'm on Hitler's side on that one. I mean, virtually everything else, I think, no. You really, you put your bad foot forward there, and you've really got a bad image of yourself through history. But the anti-George Formby thing, you think, yeah, well, you got something there.
I can't agree with you there. I can't agree with you.
Oh, so he was all bad. I know, I see your point, yeah. Fair enough. Sam Brown, anyway, is on tour.
Sorry, I've got to read this out. Sorry, there's a thing I've got to read out.
As soon as I'm reading something out, he's got to read something out. And he's making his up.
Read out. Should we all read it out all at the same time?
Well,
let's collaborate like the last poets.
It won't please James Strachan if you do that, but it won't bother me because he says, "Hi, it's my dad's Scott Sinclair's 51st birthday today, and he's working hard this morning with the radio on very loudly to finish up by midday when he hopes to get home in time to catch the start of the Liverpool game." Now, I have a specific interest in this because, as people might know, I'm a fan of Crystal Palace, and Crystal Palace beat Liverpool this week. That says... Not only that, but for short of being actually at the game, I was watching it in Television Centre. Someone I know there got the game sort of fiddled into their telly somehow or other. So I was watching it in his office, and I came out. Crystal Palace beating Liverpool is not something we expected to get a good caning.
Yeah.
And Crystal Palace beat Liverpool, and we came out, me and this other bloke, in absolute shock. And we walked in the lift, and there was Alan Hansen in the lift. Who won't know, but Alan Hansen was a sort of long-serving Liverpool player, and he did look absolutely sick. So that was a splendid moment. But this goes on. He's an absolutely top bloke, mate and dad, plus as a Liverpool supporter needs all the cheering up he can get right now. He's referring to that very incident. So if you have time to send him a big happy birthday shout before midday, then that would be absolutely fab. So
OK, well, we'll try and fit that in. But at the moment, I want to give out Sam's tour dates because she's been sat here suffering for too long. She came in, she's done a ukulele song, and now we're just keeping her talking with George Formby and Bruce Forsyth catchphrase chit-chat, which no one really needs in their life. I mean, if you're in the car, you're thinking, well, I can't be bothered to retune the radio, but she's actually here. So, Sam, you haven't got any new records or anything coming up?
No,
anything we need to know about?
I'm working on it, one every 10 years or something like that. No, I have got a new record, but it's been very busy at our house, so... haven't quite got around to doing it, but hopefully we'll have it by the time I go out and do these one-woman shows.
I know, there's the thing, innit? You got the new album, but the Centre Parks is calling. What are you going to do? But Sam is on tour in April, and I can't recommend highly enough. And you know I'm a big fan. I'm not just saying this disingenuously.
Well,
I will say it to other people.
It's taken a long time, hasn't it?
On the show, I will say to people, "Oh, you're brilliant." And they'll look at me
You're
like
common.
You don't believe that. But I like that even more, that you've pulled yourself up from working class roots with loudspeakers in your front garden, and you've managed to be able to sing and play one song on the ukulele, and that to me, that is the British education system at its best. But Sam is on tour in April, and I honestly recommend it very, very highly. Where's Bush Hall in London?
It's Shepherd's Bush, isn't it?
Oh, well, I'm going to that one then.
Round the corner from the Empire.
Yes, OK. Well, before that, she's also playing Manchester. I won't give out all the dates because you'll live in these towns and you'll see posters and stuff like that. But anyway, Manchester, not you got confused there, that you will live in these towns. You don't have to live in all the towns.
You were looking at me
go.
but talking to them, weren't you?
I know, yeah, but you were probably thinking, I've got to live in all the towns before I play. You haven't. I mean, it's nice to get to know your audience, but not that well. Manchester, Newcastle, Wolverhampton, Cardiff, Brighton, London and Milton Keynes are some of the places on Sam's tour.
Starting on the 4th of April.
Starting on the 4th of April.
Finishing on the 13th.
Also of April, because there's not that many so far, but there'll be more. And you'll probably be touring with Jules and stuff, won't you?
Yeah.
Who's always on tour. OK,
we are
from
always
Boogie
on
now.
tour, yes.
I'm enjoying it. It's not even a very good impression, but I'm enjoying it, doing it very much.
As long as you're
so.
enjoying yourself, Mark, that's the main thing.
That's what people pay their licence fee for.
That's right.
We just want Mark to be happy on a Saturday morning.
It doesn't matter if no one's listening.
Well, I suppose it doesn't, does it? Well, it doesn't.
Might not to you.
Well, if we've conceded that no one is listening, we can do what we want. Let's just hum until the headmaster comes in, and then we'll look away.
I'll tell you what, I didn't remember this.
Let Sam go.
Oh, sorry, you're going? No, say it.
Well, we've got another guest coming in, that's all.
Yeah, but sometimes people say
Oh,
all
you're
day.
welcome to stay, Sam. I was just trying to put her out of her misery.
I'm going to go and have bacon and eggs.
That's so London, isn't it? Oh, no, just this is about 30 seconds. This was
Play a song.
My North London, the most North London.
We do play music on this show. For those of you tuned in the last hour or so, we actually do play songs every now and again. Sometimes we don't get a chance.
What are you going to play?
Long Hello Kitty Kitty chats that are better out than in, apparently. I was going to play this thing with Sam Moore.
Oh, right. Because, I mean, you know, I just would like to point out that I've written a few songs on there, and the Chrissie Hynde one's fantastic, out of this world.
But you know what, that's so giving to say I'd rather hear Chrissie Hynde.
Well, I would, actually. Although
Okay.
Sam Moore's fantastic, obviously.
That's an old song, isn't it? I would rather hear Chrissie Hynde. James. Which, funnily enough, I've got queued up in the other
Have
CD
you?
player. How startling is that? Not
startling and
particularly.
exciting.
So this is a track from Jules' album, Jules Holland and his Rhythm and Blues Orchestra, More Friends. That's the latest one, isn't it? The one
Yeah,
that
it's
came
a
out at
new
the end of
one.
last year. And this is a song that Sam wrote for, was it
With
for
Jules.
Chrissie Hynde?
With Jules, for Chrissie.
Hynde. And has Mark's got any details of Dick Emery or anything that we need to do now? I shall play
Play
this
the song.
Okay.
People are begging for a song.
They are. I've been trying to tell you
All
this
around
for a
the
long
country.
time.
Play a song!
This is called Out of This World. I feel in some ways not only that Sam's left, which is a great shame because she's lovely company, but the show's slightly been ruined by Barry Cryer, which he normally does when he's in. I'm only kidding, of course. But he rang up very kindly to say that it wasn't at all George Formby who did Can You Hear Me, Mother? It was actually someone else. I can't read who it was. Sandy Powell, of course. I thought he said something else. So he has put the mockers on the whole thing, and I, you know what? When you find out something like that, we did about 20, 30 minutes about that was George Formby's catchphrase. You know what? All I can hear is the sound of the engraver putting someone else's name on the award. That's all I hear. I just feel like they decided, no, you can have. Oh, you don't even know that. But now what we've got to do, and God bless Barry Cryer for ringing in. He's a walking almanac of comedy. We've got to find out what the other one is. There must be another George Formby catchphrase. He's not the bloke who did the grill, is he?
What's that?
The George Formby grill. That's someone else.
No.
But what's the other? The George Formby. There's Turned Out Nice Again. He can't have got through the war just with that.
Well, no, and then he played his songs.
He did his songs, but no one wants to know them anymore, do they? I mean, are we talking about his songs? We're talking about his catchphrases.
Well, that's not bad. I mean, most people who make films don't have any. You know, what is Meryl Streep's catchphrase? She hasn't got any, has she?
No.
So, that's not bad.
There's a gorilla. It didn't really catch on, did it? Oh, I see it. It just coming through the mist there.
Yeah.
Was that her?
Yeah.
Barry Cryer would ring in. She wasn't even in that film. It was someone else. See, she played the gorillas as well. She's so good.
Yeah.
There is another one, but I know Barry will be on the phone. He's probably coming down here now with some kinescopes. Some rare George Formby pieces that he actually wrote for him at the time. Well, now you can do your story now if you want. I thought it was time to play some music.
Oh, okay, right. No, it was just my sort of North London, sort of classic North London sort of. I was doing a radio programme here once with some old footballers, and Charlie George was one of them. Have you heard of Charlie George, Mark?
The name is...
Right.
You know.
So,
he used to say, can you hear me, Mother? Is that him? I can't read this thing.
That was him. No, so he scored the winning goal in the 1971 Cup final against Liverpool. And he was through sort of the first...
Who did he play for?
Arsenal. He was the first sort of glam footballer. I suppose you could say George Best, but he was sort of 1970s glam, long hair. He was sort of looked like he should have been in The Suite or something like that. So extraordinary character, but very, very North London. And he was on this programme and he said to me, I'm meeting up a few mates, Mark, up at Sergio's, the Italian place. If you want to come along now, I'm meeting a few mates. Come and have a beer. So we go in. It's an Italian place. And these people, I am going to say this, but sort of, I don't mean to be rude about these people, but I mean, they were really, really friendly, but they all sort of like talked as if they should be in a sort of maybe Ealing comedy about petty criminal sort of behaviour. It was all that sort of thing. There was a wonderful woman who was about 70-something called Nellie, who was saying, talking like, oh, I see you're young too the other day. Oh, they were telling me about how they went into a restaurant and they sussed out the fire escape out the back. They run straight down it, never paid the bill. I thought to myself, you're learning. It was all this sort of petty criminal, North London petty criminal talk. And about every 4 or 5 minutes, this beer just landed plonk right in front of me. And about 5 beers in, I thought, I'm going to get people a beer here. So I said to Charlie, I'm just going to go up and get a beer. And he said, no, don't do that. And I said, no, don't be daft. I can buy a beer. No, don't do that, Mark. Don't do that. I said, no, I'm going to get a beer. So went up to the bar. I start ordering these beers. And this huge hand comes on my shoulder, plonk. And I turn around, there's this bloke, massive bloke, about probably late 60s, huge pockmarked face. And he just went, oi, sit yourself down. I am getting the beers, all right. And I sat down and Charlie George said to me, that was Big Ernie. You shouldn't have done that, Mark.
To actually come across in life someone called Big Ernie, who's not the fastest milkman in the West, that is quite a treat. This is the Pixies.